Oscar talk. Yes, I've been really looking forward to this.
I'm looking
So
for. I have so many takes that I've I've hidden inside me or hidden or just thrown onto my Twitter because like I don't really have a platform to talk about them right now. So this is exciting.
I've had a platform to talk about it, but I'm really excited now just to be able to talk to it. So I'm just going to get them all up just to refresh. But I've got some things to say. I can tell you that much, bro.
Alrighty, let's go.
Okay, dokie. So I think the Academy this year more than anything else. Obviously, last year was a very strange year with the pandemic and everything because last year, obviously last year's Oscars, but then last year's films because we were in a year where things were getting back to normal. We really saw that the Academy got to prove themselves that they're really changing and they're kind of transferring to something else, and with the years to come, I think it will get better and better, and we will see more diverse nominees getting in films. And wow, wasn't that just proven this year? Not just with like diverse nominees, but just with other crazy nominees and categories, and that you just wouldn't expect things to get in at.
Yeah, I think the Academy has officially changed into a new era. Off like it kind of confirms that stuff like Parasite getting nominated or the fact that there was really no bad movies nominated last year or anything like that. I think this is sort of a confirmation that stuff like Being the Ricardos, which would have been nominated even 4 or 5 years ago, that stuff doesn't fly now
No.
because it's just much more. The Academy is much more bigger. It's much more diverse. It's much younger, and all those changes have resulted in sort of what we're seeing today, and stuff like Drive My Car getting nominated for Best Picture, and no one has seen that movie. It's 3 hour. It's a 3 hour long Japanese film that has no genre attachments to it. Like that's insane. And that movie got nominated for Best Picture, and like nobody's seen that film. So and like when you look at these nominees, are any of these movies bad movies? Because I don't think any of them are.
No, I mean, I've seen them all except Nightmare Alley, which will change soon. But
No,
no, I mean,
interesting.
from what I've seen, I mean, there are some which I like more than others, and then like, yeah, some of these, I'll be honest, like I probably would have rather seen something else get in like
Oh,
horror
of course,
type
you're always
thing.
going to
But
have that,
you're always
but
gonna have
there's
that,
no,
but just
there
there
isn't.
there
My
isn't
point is, there isn't a
there isn't like a
Bohemian
there's no
Rhapsody.
yeah, I was about to say that there's no Bohemian Rhapsody, there's no Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close. There's nothing like that. They're all
Incredibly
oh
close.
that's fucking ridiculous.
Oh
Um,
god, that movie's insane. Yeah.
but it is just a really good sturdy bunch. I mean, out of all of like I guess something you did bring up being the Cardos, and like we could go so many ways with this, but obviously we're both huge Sorkin fans. But I think being the
Yeah.
Cardos is a really strange one. Like some
It's his
people love it,
worst
some people
movie.
hate it.
It's probably the worst thing he's ever done. Like I haven't seen all of his TV shows, but to me, it's the worst thing I've ever seen him make. And I don't think Being the Ricardos is necessarily terrible, but it's just the sort of content that would definitely get nominated in past years, right? It's directed and written by this guy who's been nominated a million times before. It's about kind of show business and fame and Hollywood to a degree, right? And it's about a person. It's about a real people. It's about not. It's about these characters that once lived. You see those movies get nominated all the time. It just has all the sort of check marks that you would see from an Oscar nominee, whether it was good or not, and it was kind of irrelevant, right? You would just see this thing get nominated, and it just didn't get nominated.
Yeah, and I'm just so proud of the Academy, where even the BAFTAs nominate Best Original Screenplay. They
Yeah,
went a
the
no thank
BAFTAs.
you and went a completely different way, and I just think that's incredible, and it makes me so happy that the same Academy that a few years ago went with Green Book have now gone and just completely kind of changed how they do things and changed their memberships, and then where we can see this and something like even a film like Green Book even getting nominated in Best Picture will soon be in the past, and what we're seeing now will just be the consistent future.
I mean, Green Book kind of feels like the last gasp of a previous
Green Book,
generation.
Green Book feels like when Green Book won Best Picture, it almost felt like the end of an era in a weird way. Like I remember
Yeah.
being like really pissed off it won Best Picture, but at the same time thinking surely next year they're going to make up for it. And then when Parasite came along, that's when I started predicting Parasite for Best Picture because I thought it has all these things behind it. Plus the Academy also really wanted to make up for that Best Picture win last year.
Yeah. I didn't pick Parasite because usually when it comes to my Oscar predictions, I try to go more against what I think. And maybe I should change that now because
Go with your heart, buddy. That's what I
I
do.
was kind of wrong because I thought being the Ricardos was a lock for sure. I thought it was a dark horse for Best Picture. I think Nicole Kidman still has a really good chance of winning Best Actress, which is insane, but it could still happen. And like it because it had this momentum in the lead up to the nominations, right? Like think about the BAFTAs, kind of like the movie. Did the Producers Guild nominated? I'm not 100% sure
Being
now because
Ricardos,
now,
yes, they did.
yeah, okay. So the PGA's nominated it. I don't think it got a DGA nomination because I don't
No,
even know if Sorkin's in the Directors Guild anyway.
no, he
Um,
yeah, because he got nominated for Trial of Chicago 7.
okay. And like Bardem getting this random push, like that sort of seemed like a sign. So I really thought that this
That was the weird
movie.
thing because it got nominated. Even J.K. Simmons got in supporting actor, so
Exactly.
it shows that the actors branch loved it, but no one else seemed to care.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head because the actors. That's our next. This is our next frontier. All right, we gotta tell the actors what's up. Like, please, like nominate better performances, nominate better movies. Like come on, man. Like you cannot look at me straight in the face and say that Javier Bardem had one of the 5 best performances this year. That just isn't true.
Over, yeah, especially considering it was over Peter Dinklage, um, Nicolas Cage, even Daniel Craig in No Time to Die. I probably would say is better than Javier
I,
Bardem.
I would agree. I would totally agree. I think he's miscast in that movie, and I love Javier Bardem, but he's better. I love Javier Bardem, but like he's better than in Dune.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
it,
like
his
he's awesome in Dune.
his performance just feels weird in this film. Like it doesn't sit right with me.
Like they didn't even pick him for the right movie.
Yeah, I know.
It's it, it's really funny in that way. So yeah, I'm pulling up my personal Oscar picks, and I don't know, like a decent amount of these movies actually did get in, and my personal picks are kind of weird actually this year, but anyway, I don't know, I just still. So I'm here. Okay, now I'm looking at my predictions, and I thought Being the Ricardos would be in, and I thought Tick Tick Boom was going to get in,
Oh, don't embrace that.
and
That does break my heart. I really
neither got
wanted
in.
Tick Tick. I really, being the Ricardos, I was happy didn't get in. I really wanted Tick Tick Boom to get in, and I so thought it was going to happen, and then it didn't. And I honestly, like, obviously, the Oscar nominations morning is a complete up and down of emotions, but that was a massive down to see Tick Tick Boom not making it at the end of the day.
I thought it was good. I don't think I loved it as much as you do. I think I'm one of the rare people who didn't love it or like or hate it. I just
Yes,
liked it.
yeah, fair enough.
I liked it. I don't think it was. I don't think it's actually worth being. I don't think it was one of the 10 best movies this year. Like I'll put you there. To me it was somewhere in the 30s. I like the movie. I didn't. I don't know. Like I thought Dune was better. Okay. Here's what wasn't nominated. For example, like I thought. I don't know. I thought The Lost Daughter was better. Honestly, I thought it was much better. I think House of Gucci was better.
All right,
I
House of Gucci is a good movie, people.
Yeah, but
I do not get the hate
thank
behind it.
you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Benji. Like it's are we gonna have the House of Gucci conversation? Because I don't think people understood like what the goals of that movie was or like what the movie was trying to do.
Well,
Because
that's the thing, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm by no means, I'd never try and defend racism at all, but everyone got really upset with Jared Leto's character in particular. But that's the point. It's meant to be stupid and dumb.
exactly, he's playing Luigi from Mario Bros. Like it's and he knows he's playing Luigi from Mario. I think this is the best Jared Leto performance he's ever had.
Whoa.
Just because it's at the very least it's the best use of him that you've ever, because he's not actually the thing with Jared Leto is that like he's not like actually a good dramatic actor. He portrays himself like he's Robert De Niro, but he's not Robert De Niro or Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio or one of these people, but he's kind of like a knockoff version of that. And the reason why Fincher has put him in a couple of his movies is that energy is sometimes needed you know,
Yeah,
and it's
I agree.
and it's like so perfectly on the nose. He does such a good job of like kind of hitting the nose with that kind of like energy, especially with his earlier films. That now that like that now it's got to the point where he's kind of self-aware to the point that he's a meme. Like you kind of saw this a little bit in the Little Things. Little Things is a terrible movie, but
I think we can all agree.
he's really good in that film because he's just hamming it up the entire way. And with House of Gucci, it's that to the max. Like
Yeah,
that, everyone in that movie is is playing like a cartoon. And the movie is actually a comedy for like 2/3 of it, and then the end is actually kind of I thought it was a genuinely interesting look at like the fall of a family and why that's the case. And to me, Ridley Scott just making fun of the Gucci's for at least 2/3 of the movie, for three half
he's
or heck
making
3/4 of the movie.
yeah,
You know,
like they all have their own personal issues, and like you see them go through like, it's divorce and everything near the end. But at the end of the day, he's just trying to make fun of like the rich and like their greed and like
yeah,
all of it. It's
yeah,
not,
and
and
how
like with
incompetent these people were in losing their empire. You know,
exactly, it's meant to
that's
be
the pettiness of it. You know, the
because it's
absurdity, like how power can drive a person to different lengths. That's also kind of what the movie's about too. And I think it's effective. I don't think it's the best movie he's made that year even, because I love The Last Duel. I think that movie's kind of not a masterpiece, but closer to being a masterpiece than what most people thought.
I
I'm
agree.
very high in that film.
I think Ben Affleck should have made it into best supporting actor.
Thank you. He was the best. That was the best supporting actor performance of the year.
I know what I might actually agree with that. I'd have to think about it, but he genuinely just stole the show for me.
I agree. He's incredible in him, and I kind of thought to myself, like, why can't he be like this in every film? Like, why can't he just play these really charismatic characters in every movie? He does it as well or better than anyone else on the planet. I mean, Good Will Hunting is that, right? I mean, this is his character in The Last Duel is kind of like a meaner medieval version of his Good Will Hunting character, you know, the supporting guy who's this incredibly charismatic guy that everyone sort of wants to be around, you know, and he portrays that so well, and but he almost never plays that character.
It's really weird to watch. It's like really kind of strange to watch though, because the Ben Affleck we've seen recently has been like in real life and like as like in professional work, really serious, and to all of a sudden come out of this is just it's just so nice to see him play this like really just and otherwise a very dark film like this just really goofy character.
Yeah, yeah. I might have I think my Chrome wants to update right now, which is not good.
Oh, fucking Chrome.
Yeah, so I might need to like reboot this thing and jump back on.
Okay, mate. No, great shit. If that's the case, then no worries.
Yeah, I'll jump back on though for sure. We're definitely not done with this, but
Okay, mate.
um, install the upgrade. Yeah. This thing just popped up, so I might as well let you know. Okay, you're gonna have to. I'm sorry, this is gonna be an editing headache, but
It's okay. Just it's not an issue at all.
all right, I'm gonna jump off right now then.
Okay, no worries.
Press this over. All right, see ya.
So yeah.
Oh wait, it just closed Chrome. Let's see. Does it actually shut down the computer?
I guess we'll see. If you
We'll
just
see.
magic,
It's
if you magically
there's a
go on,
circle going on right now. Uh, uh, let's see. Oh no, it just okay. It didn't screw up with the. It didn't screw up with the Zoom. All right, good.
Okay, good. And I guess using House of Gucci is a great gateway to go into. Right, so best actress. There was one person who consistently got an everywhere at every precursor, Lady Gaga,
Yeah,
and then we
yeah.
all just assume she's a front runner. Then she doesn't get nominated. I'm sorry, but who the fuck is winning best actress?
This is the most open an acting category has been for a while, especially with
A
Best
long
Actress,
time.
which is a category that usually is closed shut case by now. You know,
Yeah, and the
usually we
BAFTAs
know
are
what's going to happen.
and the BAFTAs are insanely good at predicting best actress. They even predicted Frances McDormand last year, and we don't even have that this year. And I don't know what to do because the thing is, everyone at the moment's just going back to Nicole Kidman. But then I'm like, she only won the Golden Globe. That's it. We haven't
Yeah, but
had
that's my
SAG, Critics'
default
Choice, or
though.
BAFTA.
Actors love Nicole Kidman, dude. Nicole Kidman could just wake up in the morning and she would get nominated if they just like. I'm surprised her performance. And you know, if you go to an AMC theater, there's like before you see the movie, there's like this
We
intro.
had that in in UK cinema called Odeon, and they've just edited it to be Odeon instead.
Yeah. And it's just Nicole Kidman being like, "Thank you for coming to the movies." And I saw this before I saw Licorice Pizza, even though I don't have an AMC theater nearby. I was in Boston watching Licorice Pizza with my family actually. But like, I'm surprised she wasn't even nominated for that. You know what I mean? Because she
Yeah,
just gets nominated for everything.
she does.
She's inevitable. The Oscars love her, and Nicole Kidman's a great actress, but
She really is.
and I actually think she's pretty good in this movie. But I don't think it's one of the five best performances of the year.
I
It's not
don't.
even close
In
to me.
fact, I'd probably, in my opinion, I think it's the weakest of the lineup.
I
Especially,
haven't seen The Eyes of Tammy Faye, so I can't say that. Or
oh,
I haven't seen Parallel Mothers either, but
oh,
that's also
bro.
because of availability. That's an availability issue, not a
I was actually quite
want
lucky.
issue.
I my one of my local cinemas, if you're an unlimited cinema member, you get early access to certain films. So I got to go to an exclusive screening of it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have seen it. But I've actually seen. You know what? I know that after the SAG snub, we all thought Kristen Stewart was done, and then the problem is, and then when she didn't get nominated for BAFTA, everyone like got caught up in that. But now I'm here thinking, I think Kristen Stewart, especially with Lady Gaga being gone, now has another shot at winning Best Actress. I really do.
Yeah, I think there's a real case for that
Because
because
yeah, I'll let you kind of say first, and then we'll see if we kind of think the
yeah,
same.
yeah. I There's a real case for that because like when you get one of these random what seems like a random nomination, um, it does sort of put something in the back of your head, like, okay, this group certainly definitely likes this person a little bit more than say the actors group who vote for the Oscars likes this person a little bit more than the rest of the field, you know? Um, I don't know, but the fact that a lot of the voters who vote for the SAG also vote for the Oscars kind of makes me think that like, yeah, they might like her a little bit more in like this group of Oscar voters, but how much do they really like her?
But then
Especially
at the
when it's
same time,
especially when there's a lot of overlap between the two groups.
I mean, fair enough. Sometimes it is just due to screener issue, but sometimes the SAGs do just snub people who do go on not just get nominated but win the Oscar. And things everyone talks about how there's so much overlap, but then a lot of the time in certain years, the SAG winner doesn't often allocate with the Oscar winner. Like just think back to last year where Viola Davis won Best Actress, Chadwick Boseman won Best Actor.
Yeah,
Then we see Frances McDormand
that's
and
fair.
Anthony Hopkins at the Oscars. So like, yeah, I guess it means something, but it doesn't mean anywhere near as much as some people think. And the things with Christian Stewart, I think the SAG snub was just literally that, a massive snub that we can't really justify it, and it's just insane. And then in terms of BAFTA, not only is there now a jury system which just fucks everything, the Spencer reflects the royal family in a really bad light. And when the ambassadors for the BAFTAs is the literal royal fucking family, I
Oh, yeah.
the BAFTAs aren't going to nominate that. So in my opinion, I think the BAFTAs almost irrelevant here, and I think the only real snub she got was SAG, and therefore, if I see her win Critics' Choice, I may end up actually going back to her for my Best Actress win I because I feel like there's a stronger case than what people are thinking.
I don't think the Critics' Choice Awards mean anything just
They
because there's no one's voting for that stuff.
they
And I don't
usually
know, like,
do. They usually don't. But in this year, but this is a very particular circumstance.
I guess, but I just, yeah, I just don't take any stock in the Critics' Choice. But you know, you have kind of convinced me. Great at you beat me to the evidence, and I will take the SAGs a little bit less, at least a little bit less importantly when it comes to this. But I mean, I think the elephant in the room we haven't really talked about here is Olivia Colman. She
Oh
could
yeah,
very easily win this, and
it,
she
it
might end up being my pick. Actually, if you
uh,
think about it, she has
I
a rock solid case.
I think the only person in the lineup who probably just won't definitely win will be Penelope Cruz. Even though I love that nomination, she only
Yeah.
got Oscar nominated. But apart from that, I think yeah, I think Coleman could win. I mean, if she gets SAG or Critics' Choice, and if she gets SAG and Critics' Choice, I'm definitely predicting her. Um, I feel like Jessica Chastain really has the case to make. If she wins SAG, I'll be looking at her. But this is the thing, like it could just go so many different ways. And
Yeah.
with Gaga just completely out of the picture, who's not even there to win the BAFTA, it just makes it even more open. Like it's gonna be a complete nail biter to the end. Like the likelihood is we're just not gonna know who's gonna win until the name's called out.
Yeah, exactly. I again, but the Oscars love Olivia Colman as much as they love Nicole Kidman. Um, and she has such a nuanced and interesting performance in that movie. I think the one case against her would be the fact that The Lost Daughter didn't get a best picture nomination, which is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, a snub. It was one of the 10 best movies of the year, I thought, and I think it was better than at least a couple of the movies that were not actually nominated for best picture. And it is surprising to me that it didn't get nominated for best picture, to be honest. Like that just seemed like a movie that in 2022 could definitely sneak in there, you know.
Yeah, but the
But
thing is with The Lost Daughter, it hasn't been the most accessible to everybody, has it? Like there are a lot of people out there who I know who really just don't like it.
that's strange. I mean, I thought it was excellent. Did you like it?
I thought it was good. Oh, and I can't. I'll be lying if I said like, oh yeah, I loved it. But I think it was a perfectly good film. I think it's better, despite the fact it's a strong lineup. I would say it's better than some of the Best Picture nominees we have.
Yeah, like it's better than Don't Look Up. Like,
I love Don't Look Up.
really? Okay, I
Do you
think
know
it's
what?
better than
Do,
that.
do you know what's funny? We Don't Look Up. Everyone like mouthed it off and said like how bad it was. Then Bong Joon Ho releases his favorite films of like last year. He puts Don't Look Up as number one, and everyone's like, oh, I liked it all along. And it's like, yeah, like some people, man.
I don't
Um,
know. I we can get in the Don't Look Up conversation later. I thought it might have had a chance at winning Best Picture, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So
no, not anymore. It'd be crazy if it did.
I
I mean,
think if Leo was nominated, I think that's when you buckle up, baby. Like the Don't Look Up thing is happening, but the fact that they didn't get a single Leo didn't even get nominated, that's not a great sign for the
I
movie, I
think
think.
this is interesting though because you bring up what could win Best Picture. Now last year when Nomadland started winning, I was always like hanging on to the fact that I think Charles Chicago's Son could upset, and then Nomadland went on and won Best Picture. With Power of the Dog, I don't know. Like I don't want to like to make the same mistake I did last year, but I, I'm not feeling it. I don't know.
I think it's gonna win. It's just
Mm.
too easy of a pick.
Yeah,
Because
it
no one else has
is.
a strong case. Name me
Well,
one other movie that has a strong case of winning Best Picture,
this
because
is
I
the
don't think
thing.
there is one.
And or I know I had the conversation about how times are changing and we're not living in a green book world anymore. But then everyone thought the same green book, and I think PGA. If Power the Dog wins PGA, much like last year when Nomadland won PGA, that was it. I was predicting it for Best Picture. If Power the Dog wins PGA, I'll absolutely be predicting it, and it's still my number one now because I do agree it has the best case to win. But then I also think that I think that King Richard and Licorice Pizza have an amazing shot at winning PGA. And yeah, I could even see like a shock or upset with Don't Look Up winning PGA because the Big Short one. But I do agree that Power of the Dog is still my number one because
Yeah,
PGA
I
usually goes more accessible films.
I mean, it's not just because Power of the Dog got the most nominations. It's also because Jane Campion's never won a this could just be the whole Jane Campion's time sort of year. She's nominated for Best Director. She's the only female. She's one of I believe she's the only female or one of two females who've been directed
She's the only
nominated for Best Director twice.
shocking that, isn't it?
She's an incredible director. The Academy loves her, and really, I mean, combine that with the fact that like even Jesse Plemons got nominated, like that
Great
was
nomination.
unexpected, right? Like when stuff
I was
like that's
predicting it.
happening to your movie, then there's a momentum. There's something real there.
There is, but then everyone thought the same with Roma and like because Marina de Tavera and Yelitsia
Yeah, that's
Aparicio,
fair.
and
I'm not saying
then
it's a guarantee, but like
yeah,
I don't know. Like, name me a stronger case because
I do absolutely agree. Power the Dog has the strongest case, but then at the same time, I don't think it's as solidified as people think. We need to. I think BAFTA are going to give it to Power the Dog, and maybe even Critics' Choice. And actually, no, I'm fairly certain Critics' Choice will, and even BAFTA probably will. PGA is the one I'm really looking out for because if there's an upset at PGA, I will be predicting whatever. As long as I think it will win, as long as whatever upsets the PGA wins has a shot at winning screenplay and or director, I will be predicting for Best Picture because Power of the Dog just seems like so the type of film that would that would lose PGA and then go on to lose the Oscar, a lot like Roma versus Green Book, because Power of the Dog isn't even like that well liked by audiences, and like I know that obviously audiences and critics are different, but then the Oscar voters are kind of divided on like who sides more with audiences and who sides more with critics. Not only that though, but Power of the Dog's got a 6.9 on IMDb, and that make it the lowest scored Best Picture winner since like the 1960s.
I think, yeah, but like again, different people. Again, like the IMDb scores are usually are often not are often of bad taste, just because like they're more casual movie fans who don't really know what a good movie is who put those scores on there.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know. I just feel like it has the strongest case and the most momentum, and I look at all these other. I thought Belfast had a real shot.
I still think
Um,
Belfast. That's the one I'm thinking could upset. But I completely forgot to bring up Belfast when I was going through. Yeah, Belfast probably does because Belfast could definitely win screenplay. I think director at this point's out of the question. It's probably going to go to
but
Jane Campion.
but again, like I guess the problem with Belfast is let me just like double check on the yeah, Belfast didn't get an editing nomination, which is a sign that it's
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
tracking quite as well. And
And
and no Jamie Dornan, no Katrina Balfe,
we need to
no
talk about
Judith, no Judith Hill, like it, Judith Hill, or I'm forgetting his name. I
Jude Hill.
apologize, but
But
um,
like you say that,
that
but none of them were like apart from Katrina Balfe, which we will go into. None of them were expected to get nominated.
yeah, that's well, yeah, that's fair with Balfe, but I thought Dornan had a chance.
He had a chance, but I think after the Critics' Choice, SAG and BAFTA,
But
like
no, but not to get nominated for editing. Like
that did say something.
that says something. Like here are the movies that got nominated for best editing, which this might be the most important category in terms of predicting best picture. Tick Tick Boom got nominated here, which is just like stunning. It didn't get nominated for best picture, but it did get film editing, which is just wild. King
Good
Richard,
nomination, in my opinion.
King Richard, Don't Look Up, Dune, and Power of the Dog.
But then I also mentioned King Richard and Don't Look Up being possible upsets, and then
Yeah,
it kind of makes me no, because I don't want to get too into this and then be wrong, but like it does like it's something that I'm just looking out for. Like I want people to know who are listening. I am still predicting Power of the Dog because it definitely has the best case, but like I'm just saying like don't be just so hell bent it's going to win till the very end because we could be wrong and like sometimes films just do come last minute and like, all of a sudden like become best picture players even if
yeah.
they don't end up winning they join the conversation like if like even as recent as 1917 like who the fuck thought that was going to be a best picture player and then like look what happened there and then like Birdman was not by any means viewed as like a best picture type of film and then it just joined the conversation like it does happen and I'm really looking at something like King Richard, Belfast, or in like a complete long shot, maybe Don't Look Up to kind of steal the thunder. Licorice Pizza and Dune at one point I thought could happen, but Dune's just kind of not looking like it's going to happen anymore, especially with that director loss. And then Licorice Pizza, even though I'd love it, only has 3 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, so that would be weird and rare.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with Dune and Licorice Pizza. I don't think we have to go into their best picture odds too much. Don't Look Up. We've talked about that one quite a bit. King Richard. I mean, if you had to pick a dark horse, I think Belfast or King Richard. You should hook your train onto one of those two. King Richard. The thing is, like, I know this shouldn't matter, but like, I've barely talked to anybody about what they think of about how good they think King Richard is. Like, I don't know. I barely know anyone in my life who's seen King Richard, which is wild, but it's true. And I don't know. There's just like no momentum to the movie. It doesn't seem like they're campaigning terribly hard for it. To actually, unlike say Nightmare Alley, which had this furious campaign in order to get the Oscar nomination. Shouts
Yeah,
to them working the circuits to shove that movie in, throwing it on Hulu and HBO
aggressively
Max.
furious.
Oh man, I respect it. So I guess that's a point to say that like, yeah, there could be something similar could happen to King Richard in terms of getting Best Picture. But I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of a long shot, even though again, getting that editing nomination is big, even if it didn't get best director, which there was absolutely no expectation that it would.
No, no way.
I think the one thing I think at the end of the day, I think really the only thing King Richard's going to get is Will Smith for best actor,
Yeah.
and we can probably segue into that right now.
I think, yeah, something we'll say quickly, yeah, then we will go into Best Actor because that's also another interesting one. I think King Richard's path to Best Picture would be probably screenplay, actor, or and picture.
Yeah,
Even though I probably
yeah.
won't win screenplay.
Well,
But
like,
there
if
is
it
a
wins
path.
editing, then that's when we know it's on. King Richard's probably now maybe the best picture favorite. Like if it wins editing, like editing is going to be important here,
Mhm.
because that's kind of a bellwether to see whether who's actually. But if like Power of the Dog wins best film editing, then
Yeah,
then we're just gonna go
and
into the Power of the Dog
the
night.
thing is, the BAFTAs didn't even longlist it for editing, but then the Oscars have been crazy with their editing. When like last year when Sound of Metal won, the year before that when Ford vs Ferrari won, then the year before that when Bohemian Rhapsody fucking stupidly won. Like they're really odd when it comes to their screenplay when it comes to their when it comes to their editing wins. But then I also think sound and editing are often a combo in terms of nominations and wins, which probably helps Dune's case for editing.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we've also talked about that. Like Dune just doesn't have the juice, and it doesn't seem like the Academy terribly. I think the Academy respects it, but I don't think it actually likes it that much.
Yeah,
As you see all the
absolutely.
nominations, but but they missed some of the key ones that you kind of needed, and not getting director was kind of the nail in the coffin for any
Oh,
sort of Dune
I
momentum. So
makes me feel sick that does. Like I'm not even like a huge fan of. I like it a lot. I say it's like a good 8 out of 10 film, but it didn't make director like that. Like I'd happily swap out Branagh or Spielberg for Villeneuve.
I think Spielberg deserves it.
I'd say he deserves it more than Branagh.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Um, for directing, I this is kind of a closed case, right? Campion's gonna win. Like
Yeah, I think she's going to be the closure
if
out of
Campion
this
doesn't
one.
win though, that's when we know something's up. That like that would be even more than editing. Like
I'm
if
waiting to
Campion
see.
somehow didn't win and like Hamaguchi won or something like that, or
I can't see
Brana won,
Hamaguchi.
like that's when we knew. That's
Ham,
when we should know. That's when like alarms should start going off in your head.
it's a real proper long shot, and I'm almost certain Jane Campion's going to win. Like I'm 90% sure. I feel like the person that's got the best case is probably Steven Spielberg to upset.
Really, I don't
So I
think so
think
at all.
because I think he could win DGA.
Uh I don't think so at all. It's just because, like, just looking at, I think West Side Story. I mean, Rachel Zegler didn't get nominated. I think if she had been nominated, then I think maybe the Academy actually likes this movie more, and we thought they did, and she just didn't get nominated. And I mean, the movie didn't get nominated for editing. Movie didn't get a screenplay nomination, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good point.
So I don't think I don't think the Oscars particularly like West Side Story that much,
Mm,
despite the fact that it seems like a perfect Oscars movie. This is like kind of like being the Ricardos. This movie in 5 years ago, 10 years ago, would have swept the floor with Oscar nominations and would have won more than a few. And there's a chance that this movie only wins one Oscar, and I think there's actually a very good chance this movie only wins on one Oscar, and it's just for Ariana DeBose and Best Supporting Actress, and that seems like that's a lock that she's going to win. So,
I agree.
um, yeah, so I think I think Spielberg's definitely in last place when it comes to these nominees.
Wow. Okay.
I think
Fair enough.
Hamaguchi has a chance just because it was kind of out of left field in the movie, and it seems like the Academy definitely likes that movie a lot because it obviously got the Best Picture nomination as well. I think Brana, there could be a case that it's Brana's time. He hasn't been, he's never won an Oscar really before. So and if Belfast is gonna have a good night, he needs to win, and that's still a possibility, even though it's kind of far fetched. And PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, he's never won an Oscar before.
No, he
That's a
hasn't.
factor.
But I think he's going to
So,
win.
and
We'll get.
Spielberg's won plenty, and he's been nominated a whole bunch of times. And this is more of a
But
formality
mu-
than actually
but much
them
like
actually
Tarant,
saying that he is a real contender to actually win the darn thing.
But much like Tarantino, how he's respected as like more of a screenwriter, that's the same with PTA, and I think PTA is going to win screenplay.
Yeah, exactly.
He
His Oscar's
better.
gonna come in screenplay, but I mean, I would be pretty shocked if he won director. But I think he's a better shot than Spielberg, who's already been nominated a whole bunch of times, and the Oscars don't even like his movie that much.
Mm,
So
that's fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I guess. Do you want to go into Best Actor?
yeah, let's do that.
Will Smith or Benedict Cumberbatch?
It's one of the two, right? I mean,
Hmm.
Cumberbatch could easily win this thing. I don't think it's out of
I
the question.
agree. If
Um,
Cumberbatch upsets with BAFTA, I will, because I feel like he's going to be a dark horse to the end. As soon as that happens and there's a bit of evidence, I hate to be that one guy, but I might just switch my prediction. And I don't want to. I hate. And the thing is, I feel like as Oscar predictors, we obsess sometimes too much with whatever happened last year has something again this year. But it reminds me so much of Chadwick Boseman versus Anthony Hopkins.
yeah, it does.
It really
That's a good
does.
point. I agree with you. The Oscars really liked The Father last year. But I mean, if Benedict Cumberbatch wins, then Power of the Dog is a lock for
Oh
Best
yeah,
Picture. By the way,
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
this is another Power of the Dog just has so many more opportunities than the rest of these movies that's why we're. I mean, that's the main reason why we're picking, even if say the conventions of Oscars of years past, they don't totally fit to today's Oscars, mainly because of all the changes we talked about. But when you have this many opportunities in this many different categories, it's impossible to deny uh, the Power of the Dog's popularity within the Academy, and it just makes you think that this thing is just going to inevitably win Best Picture. I think Denzel's the least likely to win this. Uh, Bardem, I think, is maybe just a hair ahead of him, just because it seems like the Oscars like Bardem a little bit more than some of the other voting bodies did. And the voters love the acting body loves being the Ricardos for reasons that I can't understand. So
Yeah,
I
the
think
time.
he's ahead of Denzel, and Denzel and Garfield are probably the least likely to win here.
I
I think.
disagree. I think it. I
No,
think
actually,
like
no, I take that back. I think Garfield has a very slight chance, but
I think it is
Denzel is the
slight.
least likely to win here for
I,
sure.
it's a sliver of a chance. I think if I had to rank it, so for now, I'd go just Will Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch, Garfield, Washington, then Bardem. I thought Garfield could maybe dark horse it if he wins SAG, but then when Tick Tick Boom didn't get a Best Picture nomination, I think it kind of defeated his chances. So I'd say he's got like a 1% chance now, but like I'd say he could be like a proper like crazy dark horse maybe, but extremely unlikely at this point.
Yeah, the one case for Garfield here is just the fact that he's campaigned so hard. He's been doing interviews and
And
been on our
2021 was his
screens.
year with Isaac Tammy Faye,
Yeah, yeah,
Spider
yeah.
Man, and Tick Tick Boom.
But he is saying yes to every interview humanly possible this year.
Yeah,
I've seen him do so many interviews this year; it's absurd. And I think him just exposing himself so much could arguably maybe sneak him in. But that's really the only case because Tick Tick Boom didn't even get a Best Picture nomination.
and
So it's
he is
like
very likable. But then it did get editing, which kind of makes me wonder, like, where
that's
the
fair.
Academy.
That's fair. That's
It makes
fair.
me think, like, how much the Academy like did Tick Tick Boom just miss the Best Picture
It
nomination?
was the 11th movie, and it probably was the 11th movie. If it got an editing nomination, it was most
Yeah,
likely the 11th movie.
because it got everything that it was meant to, except Best Picture.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
pretty
does make me
much.
think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I agree. It's either Benedict Cumberbatch or Will Smith. And I think Will Smith has like a 75% chance of 70% chance of
Yeah,
winning, something like that.
I agree. If Benedict Cumberbatch wins BAFTA, do you think you might have to change your prediction?
No, because okay, here's my thing on the BAFTAs, and I mean, this is no offense to you. I'm not saying that you are necessarily a bad person or this thing that I'm going to describe the BAFTAs as, but the BAFTAs are racist. I'm sorry, they just are. They have
Fair enough.
never nominated Denzel Washington once. Denzel Washington is arguably the best actor alive. He has not been nominated by the BAFTAs once. Not once. Not once. That alone makes me lose almost all credibility for the BAFTAs, even though they are kind of a bellwether in terms of predicting for the Oscars. They're more of a bellwether than the Golden Globes, for example. Like the Globes are a joke. But I the BAFTAs, and like the people voting for that thing, like there's nothing else to say than that they're probably racist. What else?
I
Like,
hate to have to say it because obviously I am British, but I think about it, and it's something I've thought about before. I do kind of say I agree because they almost admitted that they were racist when they brought the jury because they couldn't trust them anymore because like of how many
yeah,
times they just fucked up.
yes, they changed the voting body with the jury stuff, right? And yet Denzel doesn't get nominated this year.
Yeah, it is nuts, and it is kind of a sad truth. I mean, the problem is like the British Academy of Motion Pictures Arts. Like, I think a lot of the voters do stray a lot older and
Yeah, a lot
hoity-toity.
wider.
Yeah,
Let's face it.
and much like the Academy, but almost worse, which is kind of weird because obviously I think
Much worse than the Academy. Yeah.
yeah, which is weird because I think there's more of a racism problem going on in the US than there is in the UK, but it does seem to be the case where like the BAFTAs do have more of a racism problem than the Academy in terms of the nominees that they choose come the end of the day.
Yeah, it's absurd and it's an embarrassment. And it's why I just don't take the BAFTAs half as seriously as I should. And the fact that, like if Benedict Cumberbatch wins the BAFTAs, great for him. That's, I think it means something, but I don't think it actually means that much in the big picture because, I mean, not to nominate Denzel Washington once if that's not racism, I don't know what is.
I think
it's Denzel Washington.
They have a proper racism problem with Black Americans. I've noticed, like all of like their coloured any people of colour who have won a BAFTA in acting are often British. So like Fanny Newton, Dev Patel, because like you think like Chadwick Boseman, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, like they clearly have, and Viola Davis last year not getting nominated.
Man,
it shows this kind of they clearly a lot of us Brits. And it's kind of sad for me to have to talk about it being a Brit. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm quite grateful that this isn't like a proper popular podcast because I can imagine this would be probably quite a controversial decision to take. Because like, I do believe that clearly, just in terms of like how I've heard people in this country talk about like Black Americans, there is a bit of like a bias against them. Like people almost view them like they're stupid, like they're dumb, like they come from poor families, that's all they're ever going to be in terms of that mindset. And
I don't want to dive into too much of like American and British like racial politics because there's definitely a separate podcast for that. Not saying it is important, it obviously is, but
oh yeah, it is.
But I don't want to get too far off the grain right now. Yeah, even though I was also the one who brought it up, so it is kind of my fault. But
yeah. I completely agree that's an important conversation to have, but I'm a white British fella, so I don't think it's kind of my place to start commenting on things like it.
Yeah.
But it is a problem. I mean, yeah, so it makes me sad because I do agree with what you're saying, and I know I shouldn't obsess with it as much, but I just can't stop thinking about Chadwick Boseman versus Benedict Cumberbatch.
Chadwick Boseman versus Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, yeah.
You're 100% right, and I totally agree with you there. This could end up being that sort of situation, and I wouldn't be surprised to be totally honest. I wouldn't be totally stunned if Benedict Cumberbatch just won. And I mean, he's also been campaigning quite a bit. You see him doing tons and tons of interviews, and a lot of it's because of the Marvel stuff, but still, like he's been very he's been very I don't say vocal, but very active and present this past year. Do you want to hit on anything else?
Supporting actress was pretty fucking wacko. I think the big one was
kind of
Judi Dench getting in and Katrina Balfe out. Like, what the fuck is that?
Well, the Oscars love Judi Dench. I think that can be explained through
they do.
Just the Oscars just love Judi Dench, and for a performance I thought was actually quite excellent. I really enjoyed her in that movie.
It was good, but she's just not in it much. And Katrina Balfe does so much more. Like at least
she's been nominated for movies where she was in less of the movie, and she is the final shot of the film, and she kind of does leave a kind of an impact, like a lasting visual impact. But my only real takeaway from Best Supporting Actress, even though DeBose is going to win, it's not even close, is that Jessie Buckley got nominated.
What a good nomination!
Incredible.
That I mean, considering she only got in with the BAFTA jury, I think it's incredible that she made it in at the Oscars.
I think I think she is she might be one of the 10 best actresses, 5 best actresses in the world. I think she's unbelievable. I think she's incredibly underrated. And the fact that she's finally getting somewhat of her due and getting nominated for this great performance in The Lost Daughter is really warmed my heart when I saw that. I was stunned to see it. And it's just so well deserving because she was one of the 5 best
Yeah,
supporting actress performances of the year. Same goes for Ingenue Ellis. She's amazing in King Richard. And I think Kirsten Dunst, this is actually her first Oscar nomination, which kind of sounds insane, but it
yeah.
is. And she's great in Power of the Dog. I actually prefer those 3 performances over DeBose and West Side Story. As much as I love West Side Story, I think Rachel Zegler is the thing that I take away from that movie, not Ariana DeBose. So I don't know. I
Uh,
think DeBose is very good, but I don't think she's as good as Zegler is in that movie, and I don't think she's as good as the 3 performances that I just sort of pointed out.
was there any other like category or like nomination where you just kind of thought that's I love that nomination?
I think Buckley was the one that blew me away.
Yeah,
Like, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe this just happened. My heart has been warmed. Like, I think I would have said that would Drive My Car or The Worst Person in the World, but I haven't been able to see those movies yet, just because, again, the lack of exposure to I have to them here. So that's why I wasn't quite as blown away as I thought I probably would be if I had seen those. But to me, Buckley for Lost Daughter was the thing that was like, whoa, this is
let
amazing. And I can't believe this happened.
I mean, let me scream my cheers now for Encanto getting an original score.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great. I mean, I've been championing that before that became like before it got the surprise Golden Globe nomination. I interviewed the composer. I've been just championing Encanto and its music for ages, and like it's so stupid because I know I had like nothing to do with We Don't Talk About Bruno becoming a success and everything, but I almost feel proud of myself for being like one of those people that like pioneered it before it became popular. Because like now I like look at it and all its success and all its Oscar nominations, and I think like I had like 0.0001% to do with that.
I liked Encanto.
I think it's
I don't
brilliant.
have a ton of thoughts on this list of music nominees. The Power of the Dog score is pretty incredible, I have to say. That the Dune score, I'm actually not a huge fan of the Dune score. I think
I
it's
agree.
pretty
Um,
overdone.
yeah, I agree. It's overdone. It's kind of typical Hans Zimmer, to be honest. I
No,
think
it's not even typical. I think I really respect and even love Hans Zimmer at times, even though he's gotten to the point where he's almost overrated.
yeah, I
But there
agree.
have been some amazing Hans Zimmer scores, and some of his earlier scores in like the '90s, like these regular '90s dramas that he would score, stuff like The Firm, like that's actually an awesome score. But I might have just completely screwed that up. Let me double check. I can double check this real quick right now. But anyway, I just I don't know. And I haven't seen Parallel Mothers yet, but again, Can we talk about really briefly here for a second? Can we talk about how absurd it was that Spain didn't pick Parallel Mothers as its nomination for Best Picture?
Every year this happens. Like it was like when Portrait of a Lady on Fire didn't
Exactly,
submit.
exactly.
I
This is
don't
the
know
second
what,
time this has happened.
but then I can't blame these countries because like some like Titan not even making the short list. Have you seen Titan?
Yes, I think it's flawed but interesting.
I don't I personally absolutely head over heels adore Titan.
Well, some people, I get that. Like, there are a lot of people who agree with you, but I think that it was probably a little weirder than it needed to be honest. To sort of that's a very simplistic way to review a movie, but if I had to keep this short, that's what I would say.
and like France took like a chance and submitted it, but then it didn't even like get longlisted in the end, and it just shows the Academy have come some way, but they're not there yet. And it's like with things like the Academy still going with Judy Dench for Belfast, and them not even bothering to long list a film like Titan in foreign language. It shows that they're not quite there yet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
That it's a
yeah.
lot
I
better than
mean,
it was a few years ago, and hopefully in 3 years' time they will be there. But I think we're kind of at the halfway mark.
But it's crazy. It's not like Almodovar hasn't had his movies nominated for stuff at the Oscars before, right? Like he's Almodovar is
He's
one
an
of the
amazing director.
few. Yeah, Pedro Almodovar is one of the few directors who've actually been few foreign film directors who've actually been like consistently, almost consistently, not like recognized by the Academy in some way. His
Not
movies.
not only that though, but he's quite a famous director. He was on the Graham Norton show here in the UK.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
He's well
people know who he
respected.
is. It's not even a Bong Joon. Well, Bong Joon Ho was underrated for years, and then finally he made Snowpiercer, and all of a sudden people figured out who he was.
Yeah.
But like for like he was like Almodovar was kind of like Bong Joon Ho before Bong Joon Ho in a
Yeah, he
way,
was. It's
you know.
crazy.
So it's kind of insane that like he didn't like his movie just didn't get like nominated for best for and I didn't wasn't even up for consideration for best picture because if it was up for if it because if it was actually up for consideration for best picture and Spain actually made the right and actually made the right decision, then we could be sitting here talking about how Parallel Mothers was nominated for Best Picture. Like, I don't think that's impossible, just given how
No,
many
I
other
completely
nominations
agree.
it got in other spots.
The fact
You
it got
know,
an original score where it only got at Golden Globes, and the fact it got actress where it got nowhere else, I think that's a very possible. I think it's very possible it could have got in if they actually just tried a little bit more with it. Like I don't, it, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I did try and justify it, but I do think still think it's crazy the fact they didn't submit it because I've seen Parallel Mothers and it's not like inaccessible. It's a great film. It's not inaccessible or
I
anything.
need
It's
to
not like
see
the
it.
time.
I love Almodovar's movies. I watched. They had a bunch of them on HBO Max. Like I wouldn't say like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was such a treat going through some of them and just sort of like getting sort of entranced by how complex and interesting his worlds are and how beautiful they are. They're just so unique, right?
Yeah,
And there's like these core themes that he has in his films, but it's the way he's able. There's like these kind of these pillars with all his movies. Like almost all of them are about actors. Almost all of them have some sort of twist ending, but like they're all, I don't know. There's just something that attracts you to them. That's just always so unique. Um, yeah, I really want to see Parallel Mothers, and I'm gonna see it as soon as it's available to me. To be quite honest, so
do you
yeah.
have an opinion on what could be winning Best VFX? Everyone seems to be thinking Dune, and I'm like I've got a tattoo. Like I love James Bond, but
Dune
um,
feels like this year's Dunkirk in that it got a ton of nominations. It's not actually going to win any of the really, really important major awards,
it'll get a
and
load of
it's just going to
techies.
sweep over. And it's just going to like, it's just going to like drive the car in terms of, I mean, no pun intended, of in terms of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the technical aspects of the Oscars this year. I think it's going to win most, if not all of them.
I
All
do
these
agree.
technical stuff.
I do agree with that, but then I also think the films that have won Best VFX since, like Ex Machina, have been the films that use. All right, fair enough. There's Lion
And it
King.
has the best like also just objectively it has the best VFX out of these five
Oh
movies.
yeah,
It's not even close. Like it's like Free Guy, Spider-Man No Way Home, a movie that I love,
I
and
think
but that's the VFX in Dune are way, way better. Shang-Chi, way, way better in Dune. And No Time to Die VFX are quite good, but Dune is on another level. So
well, No Time to Die. Forgetting about the fact I'm a fan is something I want to talk about because it uses VFX in a really, really subtle way, but they really help. They use in such a good way, and those are the type of films that have been winning Best VFX. So it does make me think if it's a dark horse
mm,
because, like
yeah, I don't I'm
I don't think it's
I
possible.
guess if you had to pick a one that would win, but you know, probably, but probably I think I guess if you had to pick a second one, it'd probably be No Time to Die. So I
Yeah,
get that, but I think Dune's gonna like white visual effects. It's gonna, I mean, probably has a chance at score. Probably is gonna win sound. Probably is gonna win. Probably gonna win. Actually, costume's gonna be really interesting.
I think it's going
It
to Corolla.
seems like it's kind of up in the air. It's probably gonna. It could easily win costume, but there's some pretty good candidates actually. There's some really good costumes this year. Now I'm looking. I haven't seen Cyrano though, but mainly Cyrano refuses to be released,
I
at
mean,
least here in America.
everyone seems to
Um,
think that Doom's going to win production design. I think West Side Story could win that.
I think a Nightmare Alley could win that. I don't know.
Oh, and what Nightmare Alley? I agree with that one as well. I think it's a three-way
All
race.
the I gotta say these five movies have pretty excellent production designs. The Nightmare Alley production design is like the best part of the movie.
Oh,
You
I
know,
agree. I wouldn't be upset
yeah,
with it one.
yeah. You haven't even seen it yet, so
Yeah,
but I'm
no.
just telling
But
you
like
right now,
looking
it is the
looking
best
at
part of the movie.
just looking at the trailer, there's that like bit in it where like Bradley Cooper's in like that spiral with all the eyeballs, and it looks incredible.
I mean, the greens in that movie, like Del Toro's classic greens, like it definitely shines through in this film. So,
I hope it's good
um,
because I really didn't like Shape of Water.
I am right there with your brother. I'm not a fan of that film.
I don't get why people like that film so much. Like,
I
I'm
I don't like I don't really vibe with Del Toro that much anyway, but especially with that movie, I just actively didn't like. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
To be fair, I think we've been talking in a while, and I'm pretty exhausted now. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you be, but Koki, seriously, thank you so much for featuring our podcast, mate.
Thanks so much for having me on. This has been a very long conversation. I figure you're probably gonna have to divide this up into like two different shows. It's gotten to that point.
I
We've
might,
probably been
mate.
going for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
So I
I've
just
never
sort
done
of
it before,
figure.
but might make it
Then
a
again,
bonus
thanks so much
episode.
for having me on. This has been a blast. It's been great to actually get some stuff off my chest.
Thank
So
you very much, sir.
also
Thank you,
justice
mate.
for Coda.
Yes, justice for Coda. We haven't even spoke about Coda, have we? I guess that'll be
Yeah, it's
conversation.
fine. We don't. I mean, if we had to touch on everything, we would have had like a 3 hour podcast. So it's
Exactly. Well, hopefully I'll be able to talk to you soon. If not, hopefully I'll see you for the night of the Oscars, mate.